Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Shannon and I's Halloween themed live. I am currently waiting on Shannon to get here. I know she just got done going live. Um, so I just want to welcome each and every one of you for coming in today. I am a little shaken up right now because I'm used to Shannon being here. There is a question in the chat if you want to answer that, which is what is your favorite fall or Halloween activity? Um, so today's live is just going to be about us talking about some Halloween themed yarns. And I think we're going to also be sharing some spooky stories with you. I know I have a few to share off today. I'm not for sure about Shannon. So, again, I just want to welcome each and every one of you. I do see Nancy in the chat. Thank you for coming in. And I also see Bobby as well. Thank you. And I believe there is 15. So if you are here in the chat and you just want to say hello, please feel free to do that. Again, I'm just waiting on Shannon to get here. Um, so I will go ahead and answer the question of what is my favorite Halloween or fall activity. We Before our daughter was born, we actually used to love going to haunted houses. My husband actually used to work at a haunted house, and that's part of where I met him. But now we just like to do fall festivals. Hello, Megan. Your favorite Halloween activity is making costumes. That is awesome. What is your favorite costume to make? Hi, is it Sonia or Sanja? I know Shannon was just saying Sanja, but I just want to clarify if it's Sanja or Sonia. Good morning, Yarny Cat. Can't stay, but I'm giving thummies. Thank you very much for coming in and hitting that thumbs up. And if you guys wouldn't mind hitting the thumbs up button, that would be awesome. Hey, good morning, welcome. Pumpkin picking and hay rides. That is awesome, and we love doing that with our daughter. In fact, we just went to a farm day to one of our local farms around here. I think about 2 weekends ago now, and we had lots of fun. She got to ride a horse. We got to ride the hay ride, a carriage ride, and we actually got to see some blacksmithing there, and they did a goat milk demonstration. So we had lots of fun. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, the Bud Files. Show and tell Meg, I like making all kinds of costumes. I like the challenge of recreating something off an idea. I used to make pretty elaborate ones for myself before I had kids. Now I tend to only have enough time for them. Well, that sounds awesome. I bet you make some great costumes. I would love to see some of your costumes at some point in time. So Shannon is now here. So I don't know. Okay. There we go.
Hello.
Hello.
You look absolutely adorable.
Thank you. Where's your witch hat?
I put it on and then you couldn't see my eyes. It was so big. So I tried to dress like kind of witchy. I got like, I don't know, my green and my black on.
Yeah. I can definitely tell what you mean when you said it feels weird.
Yes.
Me not being up there, because I was like, this whole time I was like, I don't know what to say.
I know.
My like shaking because I'm like, I don't know what to say.
I'm going to bring up over here. There we go. I was kind of struggling to get like from, because I was like on my laptop and then going to my phone and just trying to get it all. And then it was like, you need this app. And I'm like, So
The
little Halloween scare for me, I guess.
yeah, which actually scared myself and my daughter the other day.
You did?
Yeah, we were outside taking the dog out, chickens up, and so we are kind of surrounded by woods, other than the, depending on which way you look at the house, the right side of us, because we have neighbors. Well, I was looking into the woods, and I kid you not, it looked like there was three eyes just staring at me, like in top of the trees. And so I'm taking my flashlight and I'm trying to like figure out, I was like, well, maybe there's a raccoon or something in the tree. And then like it just kind of disappeared. I'm an idiot because I did not realize that it was actually a full moon. And that's what I was saying, was the full moon in between the trees.
That's funny.
Yeah. So my daughter, she's like, Mommy, I'm scared because it's dark out and everything. And I'm like, I told my husband about it, and he said, well, I can make myself look like an idiot too. He said he was coming home from work and he didn't realize that it was a full moon either. And he said he thought he was getting pulled over 3 times because he kept on seeing the shadow of the moon in his rear view. I was like, well, at least we're idiots together, I guess.
Yeah. Well, yesterday morning, when we got up, when we were headed into work, we leave about 7:30 in the morning, and it was light out, but the moon was still up, and it was so big, and it was just so cool. I don't know. It's just a cool moon lately. So
yeah. Was it? I used to know exactly what the moon's names were called.
Like the phases and.
Well, that, but also like, I think either August or September is called the harvest moon.
Okay.
And then I think either one of those, or maybe in July, it's called fisherman's moon.
Okay.
Because they say like there's a conspiracy theory that says if you go out and fish, then you'll catch a good amount of fish during the moon and all that. Yeah, I used to know. I think September is actually maybe, or is it May? That's the strawberry moon. But yeah, I don't know. I used to remember them, but now I can't even remember them now.
I've heard of that though.
Was this one the wolf moon? It might. No, I think the wolf moon is. I think that is either January, February. I'm not for sure. Yeah, I can't. I haven't been into like my moon phases and connection with the moon and all that here recently.
So I got last Tuesday, my friend, be my husband's cousin, she texted me in the middle of the afternoon and said, last minute girls night, and she invited me to come over, and they had gotten a projector, and she's like, we're going to project the movie Practical Magic onto the side of the barn. So do you know that movie? It's from like 1998.
I don't think so. I would have to watch it or watch a trailer in order. I'm so horrible about knowing names about movies, so I would have to watch it.
If you're here in the chat and you are in the comments, please let me know if you've watched Practical Magic. It is like, it is. My husband asked what the plot was, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not going." Like it is definitely like a totally chick flick, but it is Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock. They're the main characters, and it's cute. Like it's not a scary movie, but it's about witches, and yes, it definitely was the thing, Meg. But it is really cute. So like if you haven't seen Practical Magic, you should check it out. It is pretty cute. So
yeah, okay. I'd probably yeah, I don't, like I said, I'm so horrible about movie names that I would have to actually watch a trailer to see exactly if I watched it or not. but I know my husband, he was into, it was a TV show about the witches. There was three of them, but I can't even remember the name of them now. What?
Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
No, not that
I
one.
didn't figure that would be the one he would be into. That was just the only one I could think of with three witches.
No.
Oh, was it
The
it had like Shannon Doherty and Alyssa Milano and another woman, Charmed.
yes, Charmed.
Yes.
Yes, he had me watching that like all of this beginning of this year. So
That's funny. That's
Charmed,
I mean, that's a little bit older.
Mm-hmm. Which, in fact, was it Phoebe, the character who played Phoebe? She just recently passed away.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know she had died. I know because I believe that was Shannon Doherty, right?
Maybe I can't
from
remember.
90210.
I know she also played in Little House of the Prairie as well.
Yeah, I think that was Shannon Doherty. Maybe. Yeah, she had breast cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew she was pretty sick.
Yeah.
But yes, if you get a chance, Sydney, watch Practical Magic. I think we just streamed it. I'm not sure what we streamed it off of, but so we were outside and the moon was so big, like it was like the perfect night, and my friend made all these bags of popcorn and stuff. It was really fun, but it was so cold. I was wearing winter boots, sweatpants, sweatshirt, my coat, a hat, and my hood up, and I brought a blanket. And like the last half hour, all I could think about was how cold I was and how bad I needed to pee. And I'm like, thank God I'd seen the movie before, because I really wasn't paying attention that last half hour. So
yeah, a cold spell down here too. The last week we've been waking up to like 40 degrees here, 45, okay. 46 degrees, but it's been staying in like mid 60s, low 70s. And I'm like, okay. I like it, but then I don't like it,
Yeah. It's killing off a lot of our bugs, which we like. That's very helpful. But we did have our first freeze the other night. So
yeah, it's getting that time.
Megan's jealous of our cold weather.
Yeah, that's because you're down in Florida.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome to come up here and visit anytime you want. You want to come up here in January, I will give you the full Iowa experience.
I would say it wouldn't, you could come up here, but it really wouldn't be that much different.
Yeah, I feel like Ohio is similar to Iowa as far as temperature, but I think it's a little bit more south. And I don't think they have like as bad of wind and stuff here, because we're just so flat. Yeah. I feel like that's a lot of our problem, is all the wind. But yeah, so Megan LOL'd me. She didn't say she was actually going to come up.
I don't want to deal with that cold.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I can deal with it for so long, but after that, it's like my perfect weather would be if it could stay in like the low 70s. That would be my perfect weather.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
With like little to no humidity.
Yes.
Yeah. So
the novelty of snow. I am going to like spam you with all of my pictures. Like just every time we get bad weather, I'm sending you a picture.
So yeah, go ahead.
Nope, go ahead.
I was going to say, I know like the last time we talked, you were talking about wanting to show off some Halloween yarn. You still want to do that? But I know we want to kind of talk about some spooky stories.
Yes, let's jump into the spooky.
Okay.
So, I guess I have a truer, like, is this a truth or is this a lie? So, I guess it's not. I don't know how to make that seem whatever. Sorry, I'm not good at like deception. So, fun fact, how about that? When my husband and I were in college, we actually rented a apartment that was on the second floor of a funeral home. So so it was a very creepy brick building,
Oh,
and it was very old building, and it it was owned by a family who owned multiple funeral homes, and the one that we were renting the apartment, they didn't really do that much in. They had a much nicer, newer one.
mm-hmm.
But there were some people who had already, like, you know how you like prepay for services?
Yeah.
There was certain people who had like prepaid in different things to have their services in this spot. And so there was really only like, we were there, I think we were there 2 years or 2.5 years. And they only had like 1 to 2 funerals per year.
Mm.
And they didn't do any of the preparations there. They did all the preparations at a larger, more modern facility. But then when they did have one, you know, they would do like bring the person in and, you know, do the visitation, and then the person would be there overnight downstairs, and then the next day the funeral would be there. And surprisingly, nothing creepy ever happened to us. Like, I actually felt very, very peaceful. Like, it didn't feel creepy at all. So I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I think so. I think that would be kind of cool to live, I guess, over top of a morgue, but it'd be kind of creepy too. I was interested in forensics for a long time, so it's kind of right up my alley. But then again, I also kind of know the creepiness of it too.
Mm-hmm.
So, with you living in an old farmhouse, have
Mm-hmm.
you actually ever experienced anything in your house?
Not that I am really ever aware of. It feels pretty calm to me.
Mhm.
I did sage everything when when I moved in. Because it is, what is it? It was built in like 1900.
Mhm.
Um, the house I lived in before this was also built in 1900, and I did feel a tad bit creepier in that one. But nothing that was ever like overtly whatever.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I feel like I have been in much creepier places, and I think that, like, I don't feel superstitious, but I feel like I am sensitive to my own whatever, I don't know, electromagnetic field.
Yeah, energies. Yeah.
And I feel like if I looked, like if I was touring a place, um that if I got creeped out, I would just be like, nope, I'm not moving here.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I've I know, like, as a child, you are more sensitive to that stuff.
I've heard
And
that.
I've had a lot more experiences as a child. So the very first story or experience that I remember experiencing, I was maybe like 4 or 5. We lived in an old brick home, and um, I remember my sister, my brother, and myself, we were all going to go play hide and seek in our house. And at that time, my parents, they had a waterbed, but it was catty cornered. It was catty cornered. So I was going to go hide back behind their bed. And I kid you not, I was about to go back behind that bed, and I seen one of those gargoyles.
Mm-hmm.
I seen one of those. It wasn't, we didn't ever have one of those, but it was sitting behind their bed. And all I remember was it was black and it had red beady eyes. And I was like, nope. And I took off. Um, that was the very first thing that I remember experience. My family actually used to make fun of me because when I was like 8 or 9, I used to actually have visions, not
Okay.
deja vu, visions. And we, at that time, we lived in an old farmhouse. And I don't know exactly when it was built or anything like that, but this was right before my mom and my stepdad got married.
Okay.
I remember the very first day that I actually stepped foot in the house. I told my mom, I said, I'm not living here. I completely threw a fit because I could just feel the energy in that house. Well, we actually started moving into the house, and my mom, I think, was at work, and my stepdad, he was on his bike and he had to go up the road because it was on a dirt road, and because something fell off his motorcycle. Well, he went up the road, and I looked into I was standing outside. I looked into the window, and all I seen was a figure staring at me through that window. I took off running to the neighbor's house, and my stepdad, he came back and he was freaking out because he didn't know where the heck I went to. And so I told them what happened. They're like, "You're making it up," blah blah blah. Well, there was also an attic in that house, and I don't know if my sister ever heard anything, but at nighttime, I always heard like something walking in the attic. And I tell them, this is what's going on, but they're like, you're just hearing things, you're crazy, you're paranoid, blah blah blah. It didn't help that my sister was much into the movie Grudge, and they would all sit there and just to freak me out.
That's
Well,
so mean.
yes. And so my sister, she moved in with my dad. And we were about ready to move to California at this time. And in my room in that house, there was like an extra room. It was kind of like a built on attic, or like an unfinished room or something like that. But that's where I had all of my toys. And there was one night I woke up in the middle of the night because I heard my toys going off. And so there was like a door to it. So I opened up the door, and all I seen was a white figurine standing right in the middle of the room. I said, "Mom, I am no longer sleeping in that I'm not sleeping in my room anymore. I'm going to my sister's room." So that's probably like the scariest experience that I've ever had, just because, you know, there's something in there, but nobody's believing you, and it's playing
Yes.
you. So
The first like scary movie I ever saw, I was probably like 11 or 12. And it was one where these dolls were coming to life at night and murdering people, like stabbing them and stuff.
Chucky?
And it wasn't Chucky. It
No.
was some like poorly made whatever. We were at a sleepover watching it, and but yeah, so then I kind of never looked at Toy Story like quite the same after that. But
I don't do dolls. I do not do dolls. Nope. Nope. My sister, she used to collect these clown. It was weird because my sister's scared of clowns, but she used to collect these clown dolls, and I could not stand them because I always felt like something was staring at me.
yep.
Nope. So Meg said, asking me if I've ever had things creepy happen. They had several. Did I miss something? Okay, yeah, I did. The first house she bought was always a bit odd, but nothing ever happened to me. Then, after I sold the house, I got an email from the new owner a few months later asking me if I had ever had any creepy things happen. They had several instances seeing a woman in the upstairs window with no one was home and things falling over at random. And the
I feel
people,
like she should have disclosed that when she sold it. Like that's you
yeah,
shouldn't if you're
yeah,
not going to tell the person, you shouldn't tell them later after they've taken out a 30-year mortgage.
exactly. Yeah, that's, I'm getting the chills already. I love hearing other people's stories because I feel like I'm less crazy, you know.
I get that. I get that.
It's my husband, he's just like, what, he loves haunted houses and stuff like that, but he's just like, whatever when it comes to ghosts or creepy things. And I'm like, tell me your stories. Tell me, you know, what you experience. Quit
That's
making me
funny.
feel crazy. But we've actually, so when I said I'm like sensitive to energies, just like you said,
Yep.
So this house actually, when we first moved in this house, there was a heavy male presence in the house. Of course, I saged everything and, you know, did what I needed to do. But I thought, you know, maybe it's just me being paranoid, being in a new area. We're not from South Carolina, you know, maybe it's just me being paranoid. Well, the lady that used to live here, probably about a month after we moved in, she told me that her husband actually passed away in this house. I was like, that makes a lot of sense. And she said that she had to move out because there was a lot of negative energy in this house. I was like,
again, that should have been brought to your attention before.
Well, it wasn't. So this house was rented until we started buying it.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think
Gotcha.
if he did pass away, then yeah, the landlord should have still disclosed that. But I was just like, she told me that. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense why I was feeling that negative, or not that negative, but the male presence. My mom's spamming the chat. Nightbot's getting after my mom. But we've actually had something follow us here to our house. So it was actually a little kid. I started seeing figurines in the craft room, like or shadow people is what they call them, in the craft room. When would be sitting in our living room, I would just see something walk in my craft room. Yeah. I didn't say anything to my husband. I just thought, you know, maybe again, I'm just seeing things, whatever. Well, then he told me that he started seeing a little kid, like at nighttime, actually staring at us.
Oh, God.
When we would be in the living room. So I was like, okay. And then there was another incident. I was in the living room. He was in our bedroom folding clothes. He went to go to turn around and he said that he's seen something come out of our bathroom and practically try to run him over. I was like, okay, there's something in this house. Well, then probably a few days later, our daughter was actually heading to the bathroom that's in the middle of our hallway. And she got practically not even right before the corner in our hallway, which is right here at my craft room door. You could just tell she ran into something, but nothing was there. And so then she came in crying, crying because, she ran into something, but there was nothing there. So then I asked her, I said, did you run into something, or, what happened? And she told me that it was a little boy. Yeah.
It's so creepy when kids say stuff like that too.
Yeah. And I mean, we try not to say anything in front of her because I know how kids are. They'll play off of it. But for her to sit there and say that, and then like the next night later, she told me that something was staring at her in her room. And yeah, I asked her, I said, is it the little boy? And she was like, yeah. Well, then that's when I told him that he needed to go and he did not belong here no more and needed to leave. So ever since then, we haven't, felt his presence, or I haven't seen him or felt his presence. But it was kind of, where'd you come from and how did you get here? But I think he actually came from the video where I'm spinning and everything at the river.
Yeah.
That's actually where he came from. Yeah, because they will, what I've always heard is if you have something homemade, then they'll attach to homemade items and then follow you home. So I think that's where he came from, which that river gives me a creeps anyways. So
I sometimes question myself because I go to so many like estate sales and different stuff, and I love bringing home old stuff, and sometimes like if it's like furniture or just different stuff, and sometimes you're like, should I be bringing this into my house? And the
Yeah.
the like oldest thing I have, and I feel like it's one of the coolest things I have, is I'm not going to go get it because it's like a thing. It's a whole. I don't want to wreck it, but
Yeah.
I have a Victorian mourning wreath, and it is in like a shadow box frame. That's why I don't want to pull it off the wall because it's got like glass and stuff. But so a Victorian mourning wreath is made out of wire and then sometimes hair. But the one I have is made out of string. I believe it is all string, like the colors of it and everything. It looks like string, not hair. But Victorians would make these, obviously. So Meg knew exactly. Her comment says, "Ooh, is it made of hair?" So they would make them, for like to show off their skills that they could make these very intricate floral wreaths, but also, for like loss and bereavement and stuff like that. And I found mine on Facebook Marketplace. So why wouldn't you purchase that, right?
Yeah.
And it is enclosed in glass and all. So I didn't like sage it or anything, but I, cleaned it all up, cleaned all the wood, and I don't know, nothing creepy's ever happened. And I'm probably like tempting fate because I have it hanging in my bedroom and it's like across from our bed. So it's like, but nothing terrible's happened. We haven't got a divorce or murdered each other or anything.
Yeah.
So
It's,
but that was definitely probably the purchase that maybe I should have been the most skeptical of. But it was so cool and so old, and I paid $25. Like, I had seen it on Facebook Marketplace in part of a garage sale, and I messaged the lady and I'm like, is this still available? Because I can be there in 40 minutes. Will you set this aside for me? Because I don't think she had any idea of what it was. She just had it listed as like decor. And so I think she just didn't have a clue. And I wasn't going to be like, oh, you could charge me, like $100 more, but yeah, I do think maybe I should use a little more is discrepancy the right or discretion, more discretion with some of my estate sale purchases.
Yeah, because things can really cling on to. You never know what you're going to bring into your house. So it is always, I try to every few months sage the house just in case. And I do not have anything, I used to, but I do not have anything that says welcome on our property because it welcomes the.
Yeah, you're inviting them in.
Yep. So I actually, I learned that one and I was like, because we used to have a welcome sign right in front of our house. I've never had a welcome mat. I've never been a big fan of welcome mats, but I was like, yep, I'm getting rid of that sign just in case. Because we've already had, one incident with already a spirit here and then the ghost was here. So
my friend that I had the practical magic party the other night, she's got like a big wooden sign and it's very crafty looking, like people do, like it's like a big piece of barnwood and it looks like it would say welcome, but it says go on get.
Yep.
And I love it so much.
Yep. Get on get.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm a person who does not like the darkness.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid of the unknown.
I get that.
Yeah. Yeah, my husband, he'll constantly try to scare me. Like if we're outside or whatever, he'll try to scare me. And I'm like, quit. You're going to make me like seriously, poop my pants because I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. So.
No, I get that. I think my husband knows better. Like I startle easy enough just as is, like if I'm concentrating or something, and then he comes in the room and I'm like, ugh. So he knows better not to like try to scare me because it happens on accident all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, they can hurt you too, especially if you get like a poltergeist in your house, which thankfully we've we've never dealt with the poltergeist, but yeah, they can hurt you and they can do some damage. The Max says, I believe the more we acknowledge and pay attention to things like that, the more you invite it in, if that makes sense. Yes and no.
Whoops. So I was very mindful when very negative person. I'm trying to figure out how to say this delicately. I had a very negative person in my immediate family, and I was their guardian, and just not a great relationship. And this person had some, I mean, we have a very long history, and because we're immediate family members, and just this person had a lot of mental illness and a lot of other issues. And when they passed away, I had to clean out their room. This person did not live with me, but I had to clean out their room, take everything. And there was notebooks and notebooks of like ramblings and all these notes and books that they had gotten. And the funny thing is that it wasn't an issue of them being like spirits and stuff. They were very much like their form was like religious based, but it was always very like focused on all of the demonic aspects of everything, like a little bit of psychosis. And for the short time I had those belongings in my house, I was just like, and obviously there was like grief going on. There was relief. There was all these mixed emotions and all that stuff. But it was like, I started reading a few of the journals and notebooks, and I was just like, I cannot do this. Like, I have to get rid of all of this stuff and get it out of my house. Like, I did not think this person was haunting me or anything, but the energy of those belongings and just what, like their thoughts and all of that, I was like, I just can't, I don't know. I just couldn't. Like, I just had to get it all out and not even keep anything. And just like, there was nothing for sentiment. Just, I had to cleanse myself of all of that.
Yep. I think a lot of people don't realize like stuff like that, for instance, or just even things that you say, it is spell work. And I don't think people really realize that what you do say can manifest in something else.
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can look at it in a lot of different religious aspects too. And it's even if it's called different things by different things, like you're putting that out there in the universe.
Yep. So Meg says, I am that way with demonic movies and shows. It doesn't bother me, but I don't like. That's exactly how I am. I stopped watching. I used to love scary movies, but I just got to the point where I can't do it anymore. I can't do the demonic. I can't do scary movies. I very rarely do I watch them. It's just the energy. I feel the energy off of it, and I don't want to. The way that they put things in movies nowadays, I don't want something to, So.
Well, you got to think too. Even if something is like sticking in your mind for several days, that's still then affecting your thought pattern and how you interpret other things. If it's nagging in the back of your brain, like subtly in there, you're looking at the lens of them. You're looking at the world through that lens until you move on to something else. And
right.
I'm just kind of a weenie. Like, I don't watch scary movies. I don't want to jump. I feel like my cortisol levels are high enough as is. Right. I'm not looking for adrenaline.
So Meg said her ex-husband loved them all, and I had to tell him one day I didn't want to watch anything like that anymore. Yes, I can see certain scenes in my mind, and I hate that.
Yeah, exactly. And why carry that with you,
Yeah.
I have a cousin, and she is one of the funnest, sweetest people I have met. And she did not grow up with any type of religious background or anything. But she also doesn't have anything against religion, but it's just, it wasn't, something that she grew up with. But on 2 different occasions, I kid you not, she like the first time she had been to a church in like 20, 30 years, she walked in and got a nosebleed, and she was there for a wedding, and she got a nosebleed. And I gave her so much crap about that. And then she's way more adventurous than me. She went to Poland a couple times, and she was like touring Europe, and she went into some like, super old, like hundreds-year-old church and got a nosebleed again. And then of course texted me to tell me this. And I'm like, I just gave her so much crap. I'm like, every time you go to church, you get a nosebleed. What is wrong with you? She just, there's nothing wrong with her, but it's just
no, but I don't think that's a good sign on her end.
No, it's not normal.
No. Either, yeah, I don't. What would that even tell her, though? I mean,
so then, Rod's cousin that I was talking about, the one that invited me to the Practical Magic, her husband, his nephew, they are, I think, Catholic. Anyway, I think this is Catholics that do this. Like, it was like the Ash Wednesday, and they put the ash on your forehead.
Yeah, I think that is.
So this kid whom my friend's husband always thought his nephew was a brat. So like 10 or 11, and Ash Wednesday, and he's like, it's burning me. And he kept saying it was burning. So then they end up like washing it off later, and he has a red mark. But here's the thing. It turned out he actually had like an allergy to the wood that the ash came from.
Okay.
But Bill was like, oh my God, this bratty kid it's burning him. Like, how horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But it turned out to be a scientifically based allergy to the sap in the wood or something like that.
Wow.
I don't know. Nothing like that has ever happened to me. I remember though, like when I was little, my mother was always very drawn to very charismatic type churches that maybe weren't part of like mainstream. They're always something just a little bit different. And I remember being like, I don't know, maybe 10 or 11, and we were in this church building, and a lot of the kids would like to go, like there was this area of stairs from like the main level in the sanctuary, and then they went down to like a lower level all the way down into the basement. I don't know why that it was there, but there was no like lights. And I remember like the kids would always do it for fun. And I remember like that was probably the most terrifying place I've ever been in my life. And probably just because I was like 10 or 11, it seemed way scarier. But I don't know. I kind of feel like even today, like, I don't know, it's just probably the scariest place I've ever been, in a dark stairway in a weird old church building. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say that is kind of creepy.
Yeah, and why were kids doing that? Why did the adults let kids do that?
Right.
I mean, just even from like a safety perspective, somebody could have fallen down 3 flights of stairs.
Right. Sometimes them older churches do kind of give me the creeps because,
Yeah. Not all parts of history are great. There's been a few missteps here and there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh shoot.
I think go ahead.
I think that's kind of the extent of any, and most of my like scary instances are like other people's. They're not even really mine. So
right. I think those are, I want to say I've had a few more, but right now I can't even really remember. I know like the house when I was first born, I know that house is haunted. My mom and my brother and sister have told me some stories where there was this one time that they were all in the living room, and it was, I think, my dad's grandfather's house or something like that. I can't remember whose grandfather it was, but it was some grandfather's house, and they lived there, but they were all in the living room one day, and they just heard the door slam shut. And I think it was to my brother and sister's room. My brother and sister also told me I take some of their things with a grain of salt because, yeah. But they told me that there was one time they had to at one point share a room. They told me that there was like these like little demon crawling things. Have you ever watched the movie Teeth?
Uh-uh.
No, about the little goblin demon creatures that come up through the furnace and say, "I want to get your teeth." Well,
that's funny.
That's what it kind of reminds me of. But they said that, like, these little things were crawling on them and saying that if you tell anybody, we're going to kill you, da da da. But again, I don't know how true that is because sometimes I do take their words with a grain of salt, but were just to freak me out. But yeah, I mean, you don't know.
And I think like geographically, I feel like probably like the East Coast and the South, and then definitely like the Louisiana area, like the Bayou.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe those areas might have a little more bad mojo than like here on the plains.
Right. Yeah. Well, down in the bayou, you get a lot of the black magic or
Mm-hmm.
there is some folklore within the Appalachian areas. They say that I'm from West Virginia, but I didn't really grow up in West Virginia, so I didn't really hear a lot of the folklores there. But I know they say that you don't want to catch yourself at night in the Appalachian areas because there is things out there. Um, as far as here in South Carolina, I haven't really heard anything. I know there was like a swamp creature or something to do with the swamps, of course, but yeah. Yeah.
I think we just have like real life things like coyotes, and they don't like attack humans. They'll just like eat your chickens or, kill your pets.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that around here, and I don't think this really happens anymore because I think through the years and through different I don't know if geological stuff is the right word, but I would be more concerned about like decimating Native American like burial grounds. Like I think that's like more of what we would run into here. But I think that like the state of Iowa has been very good about locating, different areas and stuff like that. Cause they're like, I don't want to say tourist things because that sounds horrible, but but you know what I'm saying? They're like designated as like things that you can go visit and, marked like that. So I think most of that has probably been identified, but yeah, that would be more like what I, like if somebody built a house on those grounds.
Well, did you watch that video of Lake Shawnee?
Mm-mm.
No.
Oh, yes, that you posted? Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't the best video. It was the first video that I seen, so I just shared it. It started off good, but then it kind of just like the actually Chris White in that video, I actually used to work for him.
Oh, okay.
That when I say the haunted house, that's where my husband used to work at.
Oh, okay.
But Lake Shawnee, that whole area was actually supposed to be turned into a lake. But the thing about it is that whole area where I'm originally from in West Virginia, most of it is an Indian burial ground.
Mm.
So, yeah, and I mean, they've built and built and built on. So, the house that we actually lived in before we moved down here, I think that was actually built on an Indian burial ground. Because I don't know, when we lived there, I had asked the owner, the guy that we were buying the house from, if there was like if they knew any presents or anybody actually died or what. We ended up finding some things that happened within that family, but he told us that it was built on an Indian burial ground. Uh-oh, we lost Shannon.
Okay,
hello. Why you leave me?
You getting rid of me?
Yeah. I started talking about Indian burial grounds and you were like,
and then I just disappear.
Yep. Uh-oh. But yeah, they said that like the house was, or that property was on an Indian burial ground. But then again, we found out things about that family that was very
unsettling.
Yeah, you don't want to live on their property no more, especially having a young child.
Oh, ugh.
Yeah. It was to the point where it would you thought about it, and thinking about you used to live there, it'd make you want to puke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, I think where I live, it's just Iowa is not densely populated, and the areas of population are like Des Moines, Quad Cities, Cedar Rapids. There's a few areas that are populated, but personally where I live, I can see flat straight land for at least 2 to 3 miles in every direction around me. And so I think that we just don't lend ourselves as well. There was a lot of Native Americans here in Iowa, but I guess I feel like we haven't, there aren't people building houses just right next to it. We're not exploding as far as that goes. So that's why I think we've been able to designate our areas separate. And if you think about it too, I'm sure my area was settled after yours, I mean, when you think about people moving west, and then just the time frame and people knowing more as it went on, and
right. Well, Meg just said that I think I actually did see this. Oh, where'd my check go? She said something to do with, there's a story going around about the flooding in Asheville area, that some people in the wealthy suburb wanted to make a wider driveway, and they discovered the area they wanted to, something was an Indian.
Okay.
Or I kind of heard something like that too, but I've also heard that I heard a lady talking about, it was I want to say it happened back in the 80s, if not 70s, about, it was a town in Kentucky. I think it was called Golden Pond. And what happened was they broke the dams and it flooded that whole town because the government wanted that land, but nobody wanted to
leave.
So they ended up flooding it so that they had to leave. So I think that might have been a little bit of what happened, conspiracy theory, but a little bit of what's happening in Asheville, because
Laura is saying there's a lot of Indian burial ground in South Jersey. And that's, you think about it, that area, I feel like that could get spooky. Just because, I mean, when you think about the first European settlers, they were all kind of in that area.
Right. Right. Yeah, I would definitely, just being from the Appalachian area, I would definitely like to learn. I haven't done it yet, but I would like to definitely learn a lot more history and just folklore in general about the Appalachian area. Just because it's so interesting, and it's, I was born there, went back there after we've moved here, there, and here and there, but it's just a place that I call home and just like to know a lot more about the history.
Oh, I think it's important to kind of, find what you can and get in touch with your roots, and yeah.
Right.
So Laura has not seen a ghost, even though she's surrounded by all that. I hope it stays that way.
Yeah. So Meg said, oh yeah, that's a whole other topic. North Carolina mountains turn out to have the largest deposit of lithium, and the locals didn't. Yeah. So. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I heard, was that, which they did this back in, I can't remember what hurricane it was, but I think it was in the late 80s. There was a hurricane that was coming through, and they actually put dry ice into the hurricane, which what I've heard is what happens when they do that is it pivots to the west. So people are saying that they might have done it because it was actually Hurricane Helene was actually supposed to go a little bit more towards us, but it pivoted at the last minute towards the west. So people are saying that's possibly what happened.
Well, I am glad that both you and Meg were safe. So
Yeah.
I was worried about, and Jessie too.
Yeah, because she's more towards, she's not like right on the Georgia line, but she's more towards the Georgia line,
Okay.
more southern than I am, and they get hit. I don't know about her area, but I know towards Charleston, they get hit really bad with hurricanes and just storms coming through. It doesn't help that Charleston is nothing but an inlet and marsh, but I mean, I was worried about her, especially just moving here too, and
well,
they're
and
not.
Yeah, what a welcome! You know,
Yeah.
you literally just get there. Here's a hurricane.
well, when she told me that they moved here, or when they moved to South Carolina, it was like the beginning of September, which is right when Hurricane Debbie hit too. So I was like, well, welcome, Debbie's going to welcome you here. Luckily, Debbie wasn't that bad. I mean, we did have a good significant amount of rainfall and heavy winds, but for us, it wasn't that bad. But Hurricane Helene, I don't think she said that they got hit very bad either.
Good. Well, I know Erica from It's Time for Yarn. She is in Florida too, but I cannot for the life of me remember what part. I haven't seen her on YouTube for a while though, but hopefully those two are not related.
Yeah.
Not related to this. This is a horrible segue. So I do not, separate topic. I did see some footage on Instagram, and I don't know what state it was from, but it was like flooding, down in, you guys' neck of the woods. It was like flooding of a street, and there was like a casket just like floating along. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Was it in North Carolina or was it?
I don't know. I don't know. That's not good.
I know. It really breaks my heart what the people in Asheville area is really going through, because I mean, you build your whole life around what you have, and then it just all of a sudden gets wiped away with no warning at all, pretty much.
I hope it was, Meg. I hope it wasn't real.
Yeah. Well, I am going to end up having to cut this live short because we've got a monster truck show to go to, and we're going to go out to eat and
just like have a fun day.
Hobby Lobby. Huh?
Good. Well, thank you for hosting this. I always have so much fun, and you look absolutely amazing. So
you need to wear your witch hat for a second, so
no,
so we can be witches together.
I wore the shirt.
Yes, I seen you live, and I'm like, is she going to dress up or get changed or anything? Because I started putting these in while I was watching you, and I was like, well, she's not dressing up, so I took them out, and then you said that you were going to wear your witch hat, and I was like, okay, I'll put them back in.
No, I feel horribly underdressed right now.
Okay.
My background isn't spooky, so
it's okay. I was going to do like stars around my eyes, but I needed something that I can quick to take off and change real quick. So
you don't want to go like that?
No. Especially not to a monster truck show. People would be like,
okay. I don't know. And sometimes, as weird as I feel in social situations, it turns out I'm never actually the weirdest one there. So
yeah.
So you probably wouldn't be either.
Just embrace it. Good morning, Mama Winch. Well, I'm glad to see you here, but I hate to say that we're about to get off.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, and my bladder's calling, screaming.
specifically only had this one cup with me, and I was tempted when switching over here to go get a second one. I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. You won't make it.
Bobby says, can I mention a drive from Western North Carolina? Sure, go right ahead. Before we get off.
Yeah.
I'm curious of what drive, if she's talking about the Blue Ridge Parkway, which that they have shut that down where all of the roads have washed away.
Oh.
They've shut it down for, they said indefinitely. Check out. Okay. So check out the crochet clogger, Mary.
Okay.
Okay. Is she
Will
live
do.
right now? Or is that just the channel that you wanted to shout out? She needs hat and scarves. Okay. Okay. Does she have do you know if she has her email listed on her page? Because I have a bunch of hats and scarves that need to go. So she is in North Carolina. Okay. So
so she must be collecting things for.
Probably. I know.
Okay, gotcha.
I know a lot of the farms down here, they're doing a lot of donations and stuff like that for, yeah.
Good. Yeah, it's needed.
So the crochet clogger hats and scarves. So if you guys have any hats, scarves that you would like to donate or just laying around that you're not going to use, maybe get in touch with Marianne. Is that her name? Marianne? And help out the community, because I know
they need it.
Yeah, especially wintertime coming up. And I know West Virginia, they just got snow. So yeah. 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 Without being with the house and all that.
Yeah.
But she said, I'm going to help deliver if she needs me. I'm working on them too. Okay.
Good.
So I hate to run, you guys, but I got to get going. Again, if you have any hat, scarves, or anything like that, please reach out to the crochet clogger and donate what you can.
Sounds good.
I just want to say thank you, Shannon, for jumping on live with me today. And I just want to say thank you, each and every one of you, for tuning in. We had lots of fun. I hope you guys did as well. And we will be on Shannon's channel next month. I can't even remember what the date is, but it is always the third Saturday of the month, unless something changes. But I'm going to run. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys next month.
Sounds good. Bye, Sid.
Bye, Shannon.